G'day, I'm Nick McArdle and welcome to what will be our last episode of RedsTV for 2012. The Reds, despite their best efforts, were unlucky not to make it through to the semi-finals after a hard battle against South Africa's Sharks last weekend. We'll take a look back and review the highlights of the year as the boys wind down and regroup after months of hard work on and off the field. But before we do that, let's recap the Reds qualifying final against the Sharks.
The St George Queensland Reds 6-match winning streak came to an end on Saturday night when the defending champions went down to the Sharks 30 points to 17 in their FxPro Super Rugby qualifying final at Suncorp Stadium. The Reds started the game well, with Will Genia linking up with Scott Higginbotham down the left flank, but failed to turn any field position they had into points. The Sharks, on the other hand, had no such problem when JP Peterson finished off a scrappy backline play to score a try on the right wing. Injury forced playmaker Ben Lucas from the field and the Sharks circled. Attacking from inside their own half, Paul Jordan finished off a beautiful sequence of running rugby, scoring a try after beating the Reds' cover defence. The Reds were next to score, adding 3 points to the scoreboard in the form of a penalty goal from Mike Harris. But the Sharks' French fly half Frederic Michalak responded soon after with a drop goal of his own. Genia was a constant threat to the Sharks and combined with Higginbotham late in the first half to ensure the Reds went in at the break within reach after Harris converted the try. The Reds started the second half strongly, but it was again the Sharks who scored first when, against the run of play, Charles McLeod intercepted the ball to run 65 metres to score under the posts. The Reds battled hard to get back into the game and were very unlucky when the TMO denied Liam Gill what appeared to be a certain try in the 57th minute. The Sharks suffocated the Reds out of the game, and despite a series of penalties inside their own 22, the Sharks kept 15 players on the field until the 80th minute when replacement forward Stephen Sykes was shown a yellow card for illegal entry at the breakdown. The Reds were looking to finish the season on a positive, and a series of strong forward runs were finished off by fan favourite Radiki Samo, who crashed over the line. It was a brutal game and sadly marks the end of the playing season for the Reds. The boys walked off Suncorp Stadium battered and bruised, but after a short break will swap their playing strip for black tie at the annual St George Queensland Reds Gala Ball and Auction. The black tie rugby event of the year will be held on Friday the 31st of August in the Plaza Room at Brisbane's Convention and Exhibition Centre. For what is sure to be a great night, book your seats, or for more information, go to www.redsrugby.com.au.
2012 has seen the Reds finish on top of the Australian Conference after a rollercoaster season that had many challenges for the defending champions. And again, after topping their conference and reaching the qualifying stage of the finals, the team has seen some real positives and highlights throughout 2012, and you never know it, they might be back in finals contention next season. Let's take a look back and review the Reds' 2012 Super Rugby season.
The 2012 Super Rugby season was indeed a rollercoaster ride for the St George Queensland Reds, where the team was forced to overcome much adversity with injuries and suspension heavily impacting on their regular season campaign. The Reds enjoyed their best start ever to a Super Rugby campaign with 3 consecutive wins against Australian opposition, and by season's end had 3 pieces of silverware in the trophy cabinet. The Australian Conference Trophy and Templeton Cup were retained, while the only trophy that eluded the Reds in 2011, the Rod McQueen Cup, was secured for the very first time with home and away wins over the Brumbies. The Reds also unearthed some stars of the future, with Nick Frisby and Chris F. Sortier making the most of their opportunities, both scoring tries in their debut games. Injury ended F. Sortier's dynamic first season in Super Rugby, while Frisby gained valuable experience when he featured at scrum half for 60 minutes against the Sharks in their qualifying final. 2 rising stars for the Reds this year were Liam Gill and Dom Shipley, with both making a major impact after forcing their way into the starting 15. Shipley was a sensation on the wing, ending the season as Queensland's equal second most prolific try scorer in Super Rugby history, his 8 5-pointers behind only Chris Latham's 10 from 2002. Despite his age, Gill was a revolution for the squad, with his efforts in tandem with Bo Robinson making Queensland a dominant force at the breakdown. Gill's leadership was recognised when he was given the honour of captaining Australia at the Under-20 Junior World Cup in South Africa, while he ended the Super Rugby season with 15 breakdown steals, the highest in the competition. Performances for the Reds were also recognised on the international stage, with a number of players going on to represent Australia in either their opening test against Scotland or as part of the 3-match series versus Wales. Genya was the maestro in the clean sweep over Wales, although Aussie Mike stole the headlines when he stepped up to kick the match-winning penalty goal after the final siren in the second test. The clutch kick shouldn't have come as a surprise, as Harris had earlier in the season broke the Super Rugby record for kicking 24 successful shots at goal in a row. A large percentage of off-contract stars also turned their back on big offers from other clubs or overseas to remain in Queensland. The re-signing frenzy was headlined by playmakers Will Genya and Quade Cooper recommitting to the Reds in the long term by inking new 3-year deals through until the end of 2015. Their signatures were a massive tick of approval for Queensland Rugby's program, with each labelling the culture, team and belief within the organisation as chief reasons for remaining at the Reds. While the Reds fell agonisingly short of back-to-back Super Rugby championships, there were plenty of positives to come from their 11-win season. For the second straight year, the Reds dominated their Australian Conference opponents, winning 7 of their 8 matches against national rivals. They also showed enough character and courage to win 6 straight games in their run to the finals, including their second win of the season against the Brumbies and a massive home victory over the then competition-leading Chiefs. The 42-27 win over the New Zealand Conference winners was made even more special, with the Reds staging a spirited comeback from 20-8 down. Along the way, the Reds also recorded their first ever Super Rugby win at Eden Park in Auckland, when they toppled the Blues in round 10. It was a highlight moment for the team, although nothing could beat their regular season finale heroics, where a bonus point victory over the Waratahs secured the Queenslanders their second straight Australian Conference crown. With the Brumbies losing earlier in the day, the Reds had everything to play for in front of 41,533 screaming fans, as they blew their long-time rivals out of the water 32 points to 16. Thank you for all your support throughout the season 2012. Through adversity comes strength. Strength comes in numbers. 2013 starts now.
Thanks for tuning in for our final episode of Reds TV for 2012. It's been a pleasure providing fans with a behind-the-scenes look at the Reds and Queensland Rugby, and I hope you've enjoyed the ride as much as we did. I'm Nick McArdle. I hope you've enjoyed Reds TV throughout 2012.
Reds! Needs to keep it on the fly. Ioane! Digby picks it up, scores for the Reds. That might be the ball game. Oh, look at this!